I am back. Road Transfer Black and White Network. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, like, comment, share. So if you are in the radically led city of New York, you're a taxpayer, well, I guess you could just pull out your money out of your wallet and just light it on fire. I saw this and had to do a double take because I was like, wait a minute now, let me understand this. New York City's giving money not to victims involved in Black Lives Matter protesting. In other words, somebody got hurt, business owner, somebody got caught in collateral damage, some wild-ass protester clocked somebody in the head with a damn beer bottle. No, that's not what this is. You read the headline right, folks. When you came into the video, New York City has agreed to pay Black Lives Matter protesters $13 million in new mass arrest settlement. I saw this and I was like, I'm baffled by it. Truly? You mean you guys actually broke down and did arrest some people? And now you feel bad about it? Somebody sued you? They got together and sued you over this, and you chose not to tell them to get effed? Is that right? Wow. This feels like incompetence at a whole nother level from people in New York, the leaders in New York. This is crazy. Fox News, New York City will give more than $13 million to more than 1,000 protesters arrested or interacting with police during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest following a civil rights lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court Wednesday. Are you kidding me? Wow. Experts said the settlement, which allows the city to avoid a trial, would be among the most expensive payouts ever for mass arrest. It still needs to be approved by a judge. I'm sure he will or she will before it is finalized. The lawsuit focused on 18 protests that erupted in New York City in the week following George Floyd's death in May. According to attorneys for the plaintiffs, eligible persons can receive $9,950 in compensation. You got into the streets, you went out there and protested. There's no telling what kind of damage was done during said protest. And now your city, your radical leftist city, is going to hand these people a check for $9,950. Wow. Protests and riots following the 2020 killing of Floyd resulted in at least 18 deaths, $350 million worth of property damage. $350 million worth of property damage in the Minneapolis area, nearly $2 billion nationwide. About 10,000 people were arrested in the span of a few days, and I would venture to say and speculate it should have been many, many more than that. But so many of these leftist cities just let the cities burn to the ground and didn't arrest people. And Lord knows the prosecuting DAs, George Soros funded, decided not to prosecute the people they did arrest. We've seen how this works. Several other cities across the U.S. are negotiating their own settlements concerning officers handling protesters who spilled into the streets, with some causing fires, throwing objects, breaking windows, and damaging buildings. Protesters arrested in connection with violence, those arrested on charges including trespassing, property destruction, assaulting an officer, arson, or weapons possession will be excluded from the settlement. Interesting. Those seen on video blocking police from making arrests will also be ineligible. Okay, well, at least I guess that's something, but I still don't understand why you would give these people a dime. The lawsuit named former Mayor Bill de Blasio and retired NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea, as well as other police leaders, as defendants. Under the settlement agreement, neither city nor the NYPD is required to admit any wrongdoing. Attorneys with the National Lawyers Guild, representing the plaintiffs in New York, accused these NYPD leaders of depriving protesters of their First Amendment rights through brutal tactics and unlawful arrest. Really? You don't think your voice was loud enough with all the chaos going on? For real? With your megaphones and such? Attorneys for the city maintained that police officers were responding to a chaotic and unprecedented situation, highlighted unruly protests where police vehicles were set on fire, officers pelted with rocks and plastic bottles. So that tells you right there. The city felt like the arrests were valid, in my opinion anyway, and this is why they were arrested in many cases, if they highlighted these things. But yet they're going to bend the knee and give the protesters all this money. I'm baffled by this. Get paid to protest for the BLM. That's what these cities are doing, and looks like New York's not going to be the only one. Attorneys for the city said there was no systemic effort to deprive people of their right to protest. Quote, there is no history or present or future of unconstitutional policing. Georgia Pestana, an attorney for the city, wrote in a memo, there is no frequent deprivation of constitutional rights. The city also invoked qualified immunity, which protects police officers from lawsuits stemming from lawful work performed in the line of duty. The settlement does not force the NYPD to change its policing policies. That's good. Unlike several other lawsuits aimed at injunctive relief, which remain ongoing, such as the one brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Oh, good Lord. My goodness. Trying to make a name for herself. Another class action settlement announced earlier this year would reward $21,500 to demonstrators in Bronx who were arrested. The payout would be a total of around $10 million, including legal fees. Separately, more than 600 people have brought individual claims against New York City related to police action during the 2020 protest, according to the city's comptroller, Brad Lander. Settlements in all these cases have cost the city nearly $12 million. That's crazy. It seems crazy to me that they would have to pay out any money to any of those protesters at all. I mean, it was those are chaotic situations. We sat back, we've seen all the videos. I've seen those videos that's come out, even the ones in New York, and it was madness. A lot of destruction happened, a lot going on, a lot of chaos. It's shocking that we didn't lose like more law enforcement officers, more innocent bystanders, although we know there were some innocent people that lost their lives. The disrespect that so many of these leftist towns allowed these police officers to be subjected to. Never mind like the actual, vehicles and police property and all that kind of thing. But you're going to cut them a check. Now, they cut them a $13 million settlement check because I guess maybe they did that as an effort to protect their policing policies. But, I mean, how strict are your policies if you're cutting somebody a $13 million check? This is crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. I'm sure New York City is probably sitting back and going, look, we don't want the media to hammer us. We don't want Joy Reid, MSNBC. We don't want Al Sharpton down here. We don't want insert any number of entities down here accusing us of racism, yada, yada, yada. But this is the problem. You're bending the knee to poor behavior and destructive behavior. Maybe individually, but shit, as a whole, if you're out there, I'm sorry. I don't feel the least bit bad for you when I've seen so much video of all that crap and the destruction that it caused. Unbelievable. Yeah, if you're a taxpayer in New York City, I mean, number one, you're still there? Question mark. I mean, why are you still there at this point? If you got even, and I know it's easy to say that. It's hard to move, folks. Not everybody's in a position to be able to move. But as a taxpayer, I'd be losing my mind over this. If I lived in the city and I'm like, really, we're giving how much to who? I would just be losing it. Those people pay so much money for taxes and to live in these areas. It's baffling. And here we are. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter seems to pay good. I mean, Patrisse Cullors has how many mansions at this point? Exactly. Love to know. Inquiring minds want to know what number of mansion are we on, Patrisse? Just wondering. Oh, but you're not allowed to say anything like that, Rhodes. Haven't you been told that's racist? Remember, she said, my goodness, if you question their books, that's racist. Okay. Tell me what you think, Black and White Network supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.